Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Just Because Wrestling. And there's a lot to get through this week because we have to talk about NXT Takeover in your house last week. We have to talk about all the news, including the return of New Japan Pro Wrestling and the recent changes in WWE's creative team that only took place last night / today. And we also have to talk about Backlash, WWE's next pay-per-view, which is taking place this Sunday.
Fuck, I forgot that's the Sunday.
That's this
When we were going through what we were going to talk about, I was like, yeah, we've did like stuff to review and stuff. I just completely forgot that Backlash is going to happen.
Backlash is
Yeah,
Sunday.
shit, yeah.
So we have to
That
talk about
Backlash
that.
is Sunday.
So if our review of NXT Takeover in your house isn't as detailed as it normally would be, it's because there's just a lot to get through.
Yeah.
So I suppose we'll start there. And I suppose we'll just talk about kind of what your high points were, Jack. What did you like about the show itself?
My main high point, as a bee flies past me there. My main high point was Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
I think he's just a ready-made star. The way they've built him, the way they've like used him so far since he's come in has been incredible. It's a lot of people have been comparing it, but it's kind of like the rise when Brock Lesnar first came in.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. So, and I think that put the stamp of approval on him that he got such a convincing win over Ciampa.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward. It's looking like he's going to challenge for the title now, which I'm assuming he'll win.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him, and I think he will be, in terms of like since the Wednesday Night Wars have come in, I think he will become eventually the must-watch star of the Wednesday Night Wars so far.
Yeah.
I think you're tuning in to see what he's doing each week, and I think the package with Scarlett obviously is fantastic too. So yeah, I'm really excited by the prospect of Karrion Kross, and I like the match.
Yeah, I mean it's like usually when WWE brings in these guys like these monster heels who are just perceived as like unbeatable and unstoppable, they I find anyway they try to go like a formula of squash match, squash match, squash match, and then like 6 weeks of squashes, and then eventually they like call out whoever an established star, not exactly a main eventer, but like an established upper mid character.
Yeah.
They beat them fairly handily, and then it's kind of hit or miss after that, But I think Karrion Kross has been booked outstandingly since he's been brought in. Like literally 2 squash matches to establish who he was, but like he was already after setting his sights on Ciampa from the off. Like this first squash match was literally just to introduce him. The second squash match was a formality because he was already feuding with Ciampa by that point, and he's gone after the guy who you could argue is Mr. NXT, the face of NXT, and he destroyed him in about 6 minutes, and it looks like this week at NXT, it appears that they've set up Karrion Kross as the next challenger for Adam Cole's title, but then again we don't know because. Dexter Lumis is still there. He wasn't beaten decisively on NXT. He won by disqualification. Keith Lee challenged, said he has a sight set on Adam Cole as well.
Yeah.
And now Karrion Kross as well. So maybe
there's
a
lot
4-way. I don't know.
There's a lot of possibilities there. A 4-way could be good. The way I do it is I do Kross and Lumis.
Two creepy dudes.
Just in a number 1 contenders match, and give Lee the shot then.
Yeah,
Lee has Gargano then as well. So
yeah, but or he's Balor now. Balor called out Keith Lee as well for the North American title. So I'm not pushing on Keith Lee going for the title. What I see happening is I think it'll be Kross and Cole. I think that'll be the feud. I think Lumis will split off into a feud with Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
Because Roderick Strong sold it brilliantly on like the whole experience of being kidnapped. Like he was like traumatized by it. So I think Lumis and Strong will split off into a feud. Because I think Lumis, although he's a very intriguing character, like I'm really interested in this whole Dexter-esque character, which is what he was in the Indies, and they full on just gave him his name.
Yeah.
So I reckon he'll go off in a feud with Roderick Strong, who was just one of the veterans now of NXT, so he'll be able to kind of develop himself there with Roderick, and then Keith Lee and Finn Balor will split off and do their own thing there, and maybe Balor will take the title. I don't know.
What happens with Ciampa?
Ciampa, there's been a lot of talk that he's coming up, that he is coming up, but I don't know, because we are getting. Matt Riddle is coming to SmackDown tonight, I believe. I think they said that he's coming tonight. He is coming to SmackDown anyway. Bottom line, Dominic Dijakovic is teasing that he's going to Raw, and there's rumors that Chelsea Green is also going up to the main roster. Whether that's Raw or SmackDown is undetermined.
Yeah.
So, like, it feels like a lot. Like, I don't want to be like, I don't want them to do call ups like, in bulk, like 2 or 3 max, like, and even that's a push, like. Because it feels like one of them is always going to get lost. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So they can't all have impactful debuts. Like, you know what I mean? Because they'll immediately take away from each other. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Wait and see. Like, maybe just give them a break for a while you figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? The NXT roster is fairly deep at this stage that they can do that. Like,
the way I do it is I have him come away for a while, and then bring him back as a heel. Bring him back as the way he was before he got injured.
Yeah.
Because, it's an easy story to tell that, like, he kind of embraced the fans and stuff like that, and then he lost it all once he embraced his good side, I suppose.
Yeah.
And he wants it back. So
being the bad guy, like, he saw his most success. Like, so, yeah. I think he's better as a heel anyway. So he's more intriguing as a heel. But yeah, no, Karrion Kross was very good. I suppose the other big thing one of the other big things we'll talk about Takeover was the backlot brawl for the NXT Championship between Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. So this is the latest in a new line of cinematic matches, and I just want to get your thoughts on how you feel the match stacked up to other cinematic matches. And how you think the match actually went down? Was it were you happy with the match, or did you expect more or less? Or?
It was okay. I think out of all kind of organizations, I think NXT have been doing it the worst.
Yeah.
It's like they don't get it. They don't get what makes a good cinematic match, and
it's because they feel like the most kind of like. They always deliver like the best in-ring product.
Yeah.
So like
I do get that, but it's like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just have a match, but shoot it cinematically instead of like just being completely different.
For example, let's say if we went to Japan, right? I don't think New Japan could do cinematic matches, but I promise you, DDT would put on fantastic cinematic matches.
But like, stick to your wheelhouse then. Like the backlot
brawl
thing just didn't make any sense. There wasn't much they did to interact with the environment bar like using it as a weapon.
Yeah.
But like the only thing they did was the fucking Uber turned up halfway through.
Yeah.
Other than that,
they both got to drive a car.
Yeah, but
for some reason. But like my biggest issue was the production of it. Like it was at night, which is fair enough. But like if you're going to do it at night, you obviously need to have good lighting. And they had I presume spotlights on them anyway, but they also had all the headlights of the cars around them. So anytime they walked past a headlamp, you were blinded and you just couldn't see them properly. And yeah, like you said, I agree with you in the sense that NXT have put on the
They've
worst.
Done 2 now, and
they've both been pretty bad. Like literally, Gargano and Ciampa was a match. It was literally just a match shot cinematically. At least this one had some bit of a gimmick behind it. And I would rank this one over the Gargano Ciampa one. But yeah, I mean, it was. I know. I feel like they immediately limited themselves by putting this on. Like, you know what I mean? By saying at least if you had a match and said if Dream loses he can't challenge for the title anymore, and let them just go out and have a 20-minute match between them. Like, at least that would add drama to it. That you don't like every time Cole gets a pin, then like you're holding your breath. Is Dream gonna win here? And I am glad that he didn't win, by the way, because like I felt like putting the title on Dream here would have been literally just taking the title off Adam Cole for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Just because he's in the middle of a long reign, and I guess to that point where you're like, every time he defends the belt, you think that he's going to lose it. And I don't see why that has to be the case. I don't feel like Velveteen Dream is ready for the title, not yet anyway. And I saw there was rumours of him being called up as well because like him losing and now not being able to challenge for the title until Cole drops it.
Yeah, but Cole's going to drop it soon, so I
You would
don't...
imagine, yeah. You'd imagine soon enough. Whether it'll be on an episode of NXT or they'll wait till Takeover Boston, I don't know.
Yeah, like there's always rumors about Dream going up anyway, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't read too much into that. But I think this match was like it just didn't feel like it should have been like the feud warranted a cinematic match. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. I think they were looking at the card and were like, well, we kind of have to have a cinematic match now. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think it was like we need an NXT title match, but how are we going to do it? Like because like you know obviously the feud started off fairly well, but then it like Dream got beat twice.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of hard to buy into him warranting a third shot, like you know.
Yeah.
Because like I mean I know you can make the argument that like UE got involved and you know the odds were unfair, but like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know that doesn't mean anything. Like they got involved in this one as well, like you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, it just doesn't make much sense. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but
it was entertaining in a sense, like you know. But it was like I could have gone without it, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're doing
like if Cole had dropped the title, I would have been very annoyed.
Yeah,
because that would have been a horrible way to end a brilliant title reign.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I think the whole darkness of it, and you know the kind of headlamps as you said and stuff, just automatically made me think of the Boneyard match, and there was no way I was going to compare to that. So yeah, it was okay. You look, it was a match. It was something different. So you know you tuned in for that, but yeah, I think NXT aren't hitting the mark with these cinematic matches.
No, not yet.
Because you have to.
I don't think they've been using the right people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with with these cinematic matches, there has to be some bit of like silliness in it as well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And I think NXT is taking itself too seriously. It's like look at the Stampede match. Like there is going to be
so dumb, but it's so funny though.
Yeah, like it's fun to watch. That like the Backlash World wasn't fun to watch in the sense that they tried to do the Uber thing, but then that just looked forced.
I really missed like the punchline there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like I didn't find it funny at all because I was just like, what? I was just like an Uber. I wanted to know who ordered the Uber. Like if it was like someone ordered an Uber and then like you cut and it's like Triple H like walks across with his thing going, oh that's for me guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Something like that would have made sense. But it was just like, oh, someone ordered an Uber and then the two guys fight in the car and then she just drives off. Like, oh, I guess not then. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy that Cole at least retained the title. That was like the saving grace of the match for me. Because if Dream had won it, then I would have been very annoyed. Yeah. Plus, props him for his Negan cosplay because I was. Yeah. You know that was cool.
But there was other stuff you could have done. You could have like leaning into the Uber part of it and like the silliness and stuff. You could have had someone order a pizza.
Yeah. Halfway, and like someone take that would have been funny.
You know, stuff like that. And I think, you know, if it was WWE or if it was AEW, they would have done something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But for NXT, I just don't think the cinematic matches are working because they're trying to have a serious product, and that's fair enough. But you know, then you don't need the cinematic matches then.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I suppose finally, regarding Takeover, we'll talk about the main event. Which was the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship between the champion Charlotte Flair, Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley. Now, like, yeah, I mean, I understand why they put this on last. Because, for my money, it was probably the best match of the night. Either that or the Priest Balor match, the opener.
Yeah.
Which was a very good match as well. Check that one out as well. But it was a really good match. Really, really good match. And I'm happy Io Shirai won. because I'm happy she's NXT. Okay, I'm happy she's NXT Women's Champion, but I think they went about it the fucking wrong way altogether.
And do you not think it's a little too early?
Yeah, no, I do. I didn't think Charlotte was losing here at all.
Like,
I was very surprised that she actually lost, because
and,
I thought that they would have held out and had her actually, like, her title reign was meaningless essentially.
And then what confused me more is you had Triple H and afterwards teasing, oh, this isn't the end. Like, they're a couple of months down the line. This finish is all going to make sense.
Yeah.
You know, Charlotte isn't done with NXT, but now she's in the Raw title. Like, they injected her into other feuds on Raw.
2 title feuds literally in one night. Like, I wouldn't have minded, right? If I could have almost gotten over it if Charlotte had come out on Raw and said, like, if you don't know, I'm no longer the NXT Women's Champion. Io Shirai is. I'll see you down the road somewhere or something, and just said something like that to be like, look, I'm not forgetting about that, but like I have a job as well as a Raw superstar or whatever, first and foremost or something. But she equated it to kind of like, oh well, I lost the NXT Women's Championship. I'll just take someone else's title, and it like immediately diminished the NXT Women's title. And I read a thing. I think it was Meltzer reported it. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I definitely saw this being reported that the reason oh yeah, by the way, she didn't take the fall in the triple threat match either, which immediately makes it worse. But you hit the nail on the head with that one. But apparently the reason that didn't happen was because she's deemed as main roster talent, and superior was the word that he used, I think. So,
but then why give her the opportunity?
Exactly,
and then you've reports that Vince McMahon is unhappy with the NXT ratings, but if you're not willing to bring your talent down, bring your top talent down,
it's not
to
even
enhance.
Like, you don't even have to bring your top talent down, but if you're going to do it, at least do it properly.
And make them exclusive to that brand, rather than saturate the talent.
Because that immediately, like, why would I watch NXT to see Charlotte if for some reason the only reason I want to watch WWE is for Charlotte Flair? Like, why watch it on NXT when she's on every show?
Yeah.
And
like, the thing is, right, and I know we'll get into it more when we talk about the changes in WWE's creative, but like the whole Charlotte thing is just a prime example, because you can when you're watching Raw, you can almost tell what segments are Vince's and what segments were Paul Heyman's, because, like, you know, everything, because having Charlotte in 9 segments on Raw is definitely Vince's call. And then you're having, like, the stuff like all Drew McIntyre's segments, and the better segments on Raw really
usually
are probably, I would put my house down on it, or were Paul Heyman's ideas. And then the fucking Charlotte having 10 segments on Raw, and the fucking tag team, the Viking Raiders, are all definitely Vince.
I think I heard that Paul did the Viking Raiders thing.
Did he?
Yeah, I think so, but I could be wrong on that one as well.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the Viking Raiders Street Profits things, they're stupid, right? Because they don't make sense. Because they're trying to prove who's the better team. You're wrestlers. Have a wrestling match. Whoever wins is clearly the better team. That's obviously the best way to do this. But like the bowling one. I don't know. The golf one. The golf one was my favorite one. The golf one was funny.
Yeah, I didn't see them now, to be honest with you. But
a lot of them haven't hit home at all. Like, or else the punchline was so blatantly obvious that when they did do it, it was kind of like. But I know.
Listening to interviews with the FTR, formerly the Revival, like, just, like, it's just the way tag team wrestling is treated there. Here you have the Viking Raiders, possibly the best tag team in the world, one of them.
Well, they could be.
And
at one time, definitely.
This is what you're doing with them. Yeah. You was the same with the Revival.
Yeah.
Like, it was interesting. I was listening to Revival on Jim Cornette, and they said the only time they were personally praised by Vince McMahon was the Uzi Hot match they had with the Usos. So, like
oh my god, he's like Vince needs to go.
he said they went
sorry,
backstage, and Vince was the only one on
hysterically laughing.
No, he said they went back, and Vince was the only one standing up, like applauding. He's like, "That's good shit."
Seriously, Vince, just go play football somewhere. Just take your little XFL ball and go away. And like, I'm not even calling for Triple H to run the show. Literally anyone else, I don't care. Stephanie, I bet you Stephanie would even produce a better product.
I'm listening to the Revival's interview on Cornette's podcast. I think I just felt so sorry for Triple H. Like they said
He'd
every
go
week
for AEW if he could.
they said like at the end of every week, they like after whatever segment they did, Triple H would have to sit down with him and be like, "Look, it's Vince's show."
It's like a child it's like a parent bringing his child to have the talk with them.
Yeah,
it's like, look, this is the way it's gonna go. Okay.
It's sad, really. Like, I suppose we might as well talk about it now.
Yeah, that's seems like a natural enough segue.
That
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not too bad. He's not too bad.
Does he come over?
No, he's staying there now.
Something happened in his leg.
Right, we're back. It's becoming like a weekly cameo.
No, it is.
The
changes.
Yeah, so we were talking about the changes.
It's not good.
It's very surprising. It's very.
Is it even? Should we even be surprised at this stage?
Not, yeah, I suppose, but like I was surprised when the announcement was made yesterday. If for those who don't know, Paul Heyman was
fired.
Well, removed. Yeah. Well, what way did they put it? That he's concentrating on his
in-ring career,
as if he's going for a world title match with Drew next week.
But like, that's the thing. Like, Paul isn't on TV now, or he hasn't been since WrestleMania anyway. Like,
yeah, unless
they're hinting at Brock coming back, but I can't see it happening.
Or like, unless like
he's getting a new client.
Yeah, maybe Riddle.
Maybe that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
Like, if you were to pick,
because then there's the immediate connection. Plus, we know that WWE are interested in putting Riddle with a manager because they wanted Kurt to be his manager.
Yeah, so
maybe
Riddle could make sense, or else
someone else,
or else you put him in, or else you put him in with Seth's stable.
I couldn't see that though.
They're all his guys though. Heyman's allegedly. Seth, Buddy Murphy.
Well, Buddy anyway, definitely.
Austin Theory.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like that Riddle idea. I hadn't actually thought of that, but I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, Heyman's out, and now Bruce Pritchard is running both Raw and SmackDown as the executive director.
But see, I don't get why you're hiring all these people when Vince is going to change it all in the end anyway.
Yeah, they should have like a permanent job, like as in like you should be getting it. Like, let's say when Heyman was brought in as executive director, when they offered him this contract, or if they offered him this job, here's a contract. We want you to run Raw for the next 3 years or 5 years or whatever. Like, just we want you to do it, and this is your job for the next 5 years, and then in the next 3 years, and at the end of the third year, we'll review it and we'll see what way it goes.
Like, it just doesn't make sense when you're asking someone to develop a roster of talent.
Yeah.
And you're only giving them less than a year.
Like, Heyman went on record and said that he needed 18 months to build stars. And he said, like...
But he was heading there.
Yeah.
Like, Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre's well on his way to becoming a fantastic champion.
But even the way he's turned Seth around.
Aleister Black has become...
Black. Like, there is plenty of people there where it's like Raw at the moment is looking like it's got like the way it's been built, that they're going to end up with more stars in the future than
Yeah.
SmackDown are.
Yeah, because you have the likes of Rollins is going to be around for the next 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
You'd imagine, unless he leaves, but I highly doubt it at this stage. Because he feels like a company guy now at this stage.
Yeah.
You have and then you look at you have Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy, his two stablemates. Like Austin Theory's only 22. He's around for as long as you want to, as long as you can treat him properly. Like you know, as long as he wants to be, he'll be around. And Buddy Murphy is a phenomenal talent. A dependable guy you can guarantee will have a great match with anyone.
Or Drew, and you've Drew McIntyre.
You've Drew, who you can put a company behind.
Yeah.
You have who else is there? You have Aleister Black, who could foreseeably be the successor of the Undertaker if you wanted. Like,
but even Lashley at the moment.
Yeah, you know, even Lashley's being built properly.
Like, look at Lashley before Heyman came in, and he was with fucking
the
Lana thing. Well, that was Heyman kind of took that over. You had to just keep going with it.
But at least it was still captivating. You still wanted to see what happened.
And but he was with Leo Rush, and his gimmick was just he showed his arse. So I don't know.
Yeah, he loved his glutes.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just very frustrating because I feel like Raw was going in the right direction.
It was, yeah. Look, it was, and like I know SmackDown went through a bit of a rough patch there for a while, but I think it's been fairly, at least consistent, the last few weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
But now when you look at it, like, I know people are debating and they're looking at I think people were saying, I think Heyman is better creatively than Pritchard or whatever, and that's fair enough. You know, you can debate that all you want, but if it was roles reversed and they got rid of Pritchard and gave Paul SmackDown and Raw,
they'd be parties in the streets, I say.
Yeah, but it's still
the same thing.
I'd still be worried because it's still a big ask to give someone 5 hours of television a week.
You're giving one guy your two most high profile products and being like, look, we're giving you 5 hours of television a week, and we want you to make it captivating enough.
Live at that.
Live, well, sometimes yes, but for the most part, yes. And we want you to make it. We want. There's 1.7 million people watching it now. We want it at 3 million. We need you to invest. We need people to be invested in this.
Yeah, but you need time for that.
Exactly.
It's not as if he's going to take over and tomorrow morning. Week, you know what I mean. Like, and you're never going to get there if you're only giving people 10 months to do it, and if they don't do it, then they're out.
Yeah.
Like, but I think this whole Paul Heyman thing is weird because I think it's a huge mistake if you have him employed and he's not he's not doing something creatively. He's just an on-air talent. That just feels like a mistake. And then again, they gave him this shiny new contract, and it was the same with Eric Bischoff. You know, it's no coincidence they gave him these big roles right around the time AEW was starting up.
Yeah,
and they got rid of Bischoff quite quickly because they realized, he has nothing.
He doesn't want to be here.
He was like, and it's like, AEW could have him, but I think they value Paul.
Yeah,
and they don't want him to leave. But you know, it's like having your cake and eating it. You don't want him to be challenging Vince here, but you don't want him to be going over there either.
It was interesting enough actually because I was listening to Adam Pacitti talking about it, and he had a very like a lot of people credit Paul Heyman with the success of SmackDown in the early days, but with the SmackDown 6, that he built SmackDown around those 6 guys, and he was comparing it to that Heyman was building Raw behind Raw's catering squad, the guys who otherwise would have been left in catering, the likes of Buddy Murphy and Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black and Austin Theory. These guys who may have, who Vince probably may not have even considered actually putting on television. You know, Vince is clearly invested in Edge and Randy Orton and, you know, these established guys who have been around for 20 years and, longer in some cases. And, guys who, yes, we love seeing them, and yes, they are, they're great, and they are, a Hall of Famer in Edge's case, and a guaranteed Hall of Famer in Randy Orton's case.
Yeah.
But,
I
want to see them use them to make new stars.
Yeah.
Why are they feuding with each other, first of all?
But it's it's like Vince isn't investing in the future because
he knows he won't be around.
Yeah, he's like, why am I investing in 10 years time when I'm not
I
going
could
to
be
be
dead.
here? Yeah, so he's like, that would be someone else's problem then. But like,
oh my god, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You know, but like, I just don't, I just don't see the.
It's like literally, you see it everywhere. I see it in my own job. People like you've come in and like the place is messy as fuck. It's just destroyed, but you know the attitude was, "Air will leave it. They'll get it in the morning," kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, so it's literally like Vince is just has this mentality. What's happening tonight?
Yeah, there's no looking towards
yeah,
10 years time, and I think that's something Heyman does.
Yeah, but Vince, there's a pay per view in 3 weeks time. No. Tonight, what's happening on Superstars?
Is that even a show anymore?
That's still a show.
Is it?
That Ricochet wrestles exclusively on. He's a guy I forgot that Heyman loves. That apparently Vince took one look at and said no. Apparently, like Ricochet is only wrestling on like main event and Superstars. Poor Ricochet and Cedric, who's another guy that Heyman saw big things for.
Yeah.
I'd expect him to be gone the next year.
But it's like Vince. I remember. I think it was Cedric at the time that his push stopped. There was a reported because Vince but it was like Vince wanted to show Heyman that he's the one in charge.
Really, yeah,
that was part. He's just. And he was like, he was like, I'm only going to push some of your stars, not all of them. So that's why he took Cedric push away.
I don't know why Cedric hasn't asked for his release yet. Unless he's literally got like 4 years left on his contract or something, and it would just be a hassle.
Like I feel sorry the most for Triple H in all these situations.
Because you can literally see what he's doing in NXT, and like more often than that, he produces like the best things in WWE.
Yeah.
And like you look at the Gargano Ciampa feud, and I know it was severely flawed, but like by accident through injury and whatever. But like you look at that feud, right, which is genuinely, in my opinion, one of the greatest wrestling feuds ever.
Yeah,
genuinely, in any company in any timeline, and Vince got bored one day and decided, we'll bring him up and make him a tag team. But Vince is like, Triple H is there, like they're feuding. Vince, they're in a blood feud. Our whole brand is based on this feud. No, they're gonna wrestle the Bear on SmackDown. Yeah. And like when you actually think about it, if Vince had never brought them up, we would have got like the proper conclusion to that storyline. Yeah. Because it was on a main roster match that Ciampa got that neck injury. Oh, it annoys me so much. Like, silver lining, we got Adam Cole as champion out of it, which has been great. But I wanted that more. I wanted a conclusive end to that, and instead we got a shitty cinematic match. Oh, so annoying.
Like, I'm not. I do worry because, like, 5 hours of television is a big ask for Bruce. And
5 hours of captivating television.
Yes.
He could write 5 hours of television.
Well, yeah.
5 hours of good TV.
As they've proven. But, like, 5 hours of good TV is...
With no audience mind. You've no atmosphere to feed off here. Well, you do, but, like, what are they going to do?
I saw people saying, and it's been speculated that the reason that this is happening is because Raw and SmackDown aren't touring like in the foreseeable future, so it's just easier to have one guy in charge of it because it's all down in Orlando, which kind of makes sense. But I'm hoping that once the brands split,
that they bring Paul back, that
they bring someone in.
Yeah,
perhaps Triple H run one of them.
Do you hear the controversy actually about the trainees, the makeshift crowd, as it were, that apparently, I think it was at Backlash it was either at Backlash or the recent Raw taping. No, it was Backlash. Sorry. Apparently, MVP had to record a promo for Backlash, and he was recording the promo in the ring, and he was like, "Looking at all you NXT superstars in the crowd and all this kind of stuff." And Kevin Dunn came over the tannoy and said, "No, MVP. I don't know what he would have called him, but Montel, you start again. They're not NXT superstars. They're Performance Center trainees or Performance Center recruits." And Like they had to start the whole thing again. But now, actual NXT superstars, I suppose, like guys who are featured on the show, are going to be in the crowd as well, but they're going to be sitting on the hard cam, and they'll have the guys who are there already standing, looking at the likes of Roderick Strong and Keith Lee sitting down in chairs for the entire time on the hard cam, but it's just a means of getting more noise. But like, are you just trying to split your roster? Are you just trying to like create tension?
I don't know.
Like, I was just listening to Adam Pacitti talk about this, like, and again he was talking about, like, he was like, that's what I want to aspire to be. That guy who sits down in a chair.
I want to get a chair.
Yeah, I want to be able to sit down. I'm gonna work my ass off. But even the thing was, like, when MVP cut that promo and said NXT superstars, and Kevin Dunn was like, no, they're not superstars. Kona Reeves was in the crowd, who's been on NXT television a lot. He was just out for an injury. Malcolm Bivens was in the crowd. I think Caden Carter was there, who's a big feature in the women's division now, or at least she's featured, bi-weekly. Yeah. There was a few, like, they weren't like all unknown guys.
Yeah, but see, it's like, how long? Like, okay, Vince has been in charge for this long. And how long has Kevin Dunn been there? Like, surely surely you have to look at it and be like, okay, something needs, like, you're dinosaurs. Like, come on.
Well, if I was going to pick one of them to get rid of, it would be Vince.
No, it'd be Kevin Dunn.
I don't know, like, literally, it was like the between Clinton and Trump. This is the situation we're in, like.
No, I'd like, if my like dream scenario is being locked in a room with Kevin Dunn and being like, press that camera change button one more time.
It's like, I bet you can't go 10 minutes without swapping the camera 17 times. You're allowed 5 camera cuts in the next half an hour.
He'd do it, boom, 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 boom.
He would get stuck on like the crowd. That's it. Now we have to watch the crowd now. And just guess the match is good.
It's like,
this is what you do, Kevin.
Do you know on Sky where like they weren't allowed to show the chair shots, so it panned to the crowd? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
You're allowed 5. Your quota is 5, Kevin.
He's like the Cookie Monster, but camera change.
Cameras.
But
yeah, I don't know, man. They WWE needs a serious overhaul. But
like, who's NXT's Kevin Dunn? Is it Jeremy Borash?
No, I don't think he's the Kevin Dunn. I think.
Who's their director? Like,
I have no idea. It's very. I know. Triple H is obviously the Vince.
Dressed up. Nobody dressed up as Vince on Raw, just sitting there. Stop it!
I know Sean is like a producer slash coach.
Yeah.
Road Dogg is the same. I don't know who's in charge of creative. I think they all chip in, I think.
Yeah, there's Matt Bloom as well.
And Bloom's there as head coach. Does Regal have a job backstage? Besides, obviously, he's the on-screen general manager.
He's scout, isn't he? He's scouting.
That's right, yeah, he's talent scout. Yeah.
It's so funny because you can give, like, like, there's Vince's era.
Yeah.
And you can see that Triple H is giving everyone this. You could almost match for match people up from Vince's era now to Triple H's era and the jobs. Like, like Jerry Briscoe as William Regal, he was the talent scout.
Yeah.
Like Pat Patterson was Shawn Michaels. Like, there's gonna be it's just a new cycle of people.
Yeah. I wonder who the next line will be. It'll be like Johnny Gargano with Shawn Michaels and Ciampa as Triple H.
Yeah, someday our kids will be sitting down here recording.
I wonder who will marry Triple H's children, because they'll be the next heirs.
Our kids will be doing a podcast complaining that Triple H is out of touch.
Yeah, literally, imagine. That's the thing. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's uncertain times would be ahead. we'll have to wait and see. I guess it won't be immediate. Like it'll be in the next like month or so. But we'll probably see a big difference.
Just watch Raw and it'll be like,
It's just that garbage fire.
It'd be like that Krusty meme, you know, where he watches the thing and he has the flag. He's like, what the hell was that?
It'll just be like the Springfield tire fire just on for 3 hours. This is the best we could do.
Paul.
John will be. It'll be like that scene. It'll be like that scene from The Simpsons where Homer tries to build a barbecue, and it'll be like they'll be looking at a picture of the Attitude Era,
that's
being
one
like,
fine looking
"That's
barbecue.
one fine looking episode of Monday Night Raw." Why doesn't mine look like that?
Be like, it'll come up at the end of Raw next. Like Paul died on his way back to his home planet.
Yeah. Paul Heyman will appear next week on Monday Night Raw. Disclosure: Paul died on his way home back to Philadelphia. But yeah. I suppose moving on from that, we'll go from good news to some bad news because it was announced this week.
Is that good news?
No, I said bad news to good news.
No, you said good news to bad news.
All the way around.
Okay.
Bad news to good news, rather. This week, it was announced the return date for New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is something that I am very excited for because I've realised it's been the promotion that it's my favourite promotion. New Japan is my promotion. That's the one I love the most. If I could be a wrestler...
It took you this pandemic to realise.
You don't know what you got till it's gone, Jack. And like I remember being like, when they announced, it coming back, I just watched a wave of ecstasy washed over me, being like, oh my god, I'm gonna see Okada wrestle again. And like I can't wait.
Where are the matches taking place?
I'm not sure. That now I don't know.
Yeah.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I'll quickly try and find out. But yeah, they announced that they are back on the 15th of June with a special pay-per-view. It's called the Together Project Special or something like that, and it's going to be their first show back. It's going to be kind of like a pay-per-view, but the only thing is the kind of gimmick behind it is none of the matches are being announced, and you'll only find out the matches as they happen. So like the first match will be announced at like opening bell, and you won't even know what's going on, and which is kind of cool, which could go really well or really badly.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh yeah, they haven't announced where they're taking place either, so unknown locations. But yeah, so that's happening on the 15th of June, which is this Monday, which should be good. The Together Project, and then the following day, the Tuesday, very exciting news because the New Japan Cup is back. So this was originally meant to take place in March, which would have led to a number 1 contender for Tetsuya Naito for Sakura Genesis, but all that got cancelled over, the pandemic. But now it's announced from June 16th till July 11th, the New Japan Cup will be running, with the winner getting an IWGP Heavyweight / Intercontinental Championship match against Naito at Dominion. So Dominion, which usually takes place around the first week of June, has been pushed up to July 12th, so the next day. And I'll just quickly run through the matches in the opening round, because that's the thing as well. They have no gaijin talent really other than the ones that are living there. So they had to really make up the numbers. So you have the usual top guys and the top Japanese wrestlers. You have a lot of young lions who usually do make an appearance in the New Japan Cup anyway, but not at this volume. Like it's usually only like 2.
Yeah.
And you have junior heavyweights, which is interesting. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. So we have Togi Makabe versus Yoda Tsuji. So basically old veteran young lion. Tomohiro Ishii versus El Desperado. Toru Yano versus Jado, which might be a fun little comedy match.
Yeah.
Tomoaki Hanma versus Hiromu Takahashi. Takahashi, obviously the current junior heavyweight champion. The match that I'm genuinely looking forward to the most out of the opening matches, Kazuchika Okada versus Gedo, which could just be it could be a murder. That might be an actual death.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, Gedo used to be Okada's manager and turned heel on him to align himself with Jay White.
Hilarious that Gedo's wrestling.
Yeah.
Last time Gedo wrestled.
He wrestles all the time in like multi-man tags, but never takes any excessive bumps or anything. This is probably his first singles match, I'd say, in about 2, 3 or 4 years, I'd say maybe. Same with Jado. Jado hasn't wrestled in ages. Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki, which is just going to be all sorts of stiff. Yuya Uemura versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru, young lion versus junior heavyweight there, which is interesting. Gabriel Kidd versus Taiji Ishimori, big moment.
I'm really happy for Gabriel
Yeah,
Kidd.
big. I didn't even know he was living in Japan. I thought he was.
I
know
knew he was a young lion.
He is a young lion, but I thought he was with the LA dojo. I thought he moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah, but no, I'm really, really happy for him. Like European, kind of a staple of the European indie scene. So it'd be good to see him get.
And like especially like we
break.
saw him kind of like from his like when he first started, but he was like
WCPW,
and like he was like 2 years into his wrestling career there.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, he's taking on Taiji Ishimori, which will be just it'll be good to see. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Taichi. Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Those two never have a bad match against each other. So that'll
be the match of the
opening round. I say. Ryusuke Taguchi versus Sanada, which could be funny because Sanada is kind of one of these guys who's unintentionally hilarious. Like his whole he's the cold skull, so he's like deadpan and serious and stuff. So he kind of, but when he does stuff, it's kind of like funny that he just doesn't react to anything.
He's like the Drax of New Japan.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Sho, speaking of a match that could steal the open round, Sho versus Shingo Takagi.
Yeah.
Those two had one of the matches of the best of the Super Juniors last year, an absolutely fantastic match. These two have unbelievable chemistry with each other, so that'll be a hard-hitting affair. Hiroshi Tenzin versus Yoshihashi. Yo versus Bushi. Satoshi Kojima versus Evil. And Hiroki Goto versus Yujiro Takahashi. Yeah, so I suppose Jack.
Is Tanahashi in it? No.
Yeah, he's facing Taichi.
Sorry, yeah.
So who do you think is taking the New Japan Cup? If you had to pick a final.
See, I don't know the way the brackets go, so like
I did my brackets and all. I love tournaments.
Yeah. Like the New Japan Cup is always a very hard one to call because it's always a random person. It's a bit like kind of like the Money in the Bank, where it's a way of like pushing someone rather than giving the established star.
Except for last year when Okada won it, of course. But
yeah, but but even going into that, you didn't expect.
You weren't sure.
But like I remember, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Zack Sabre Jr. won it.
Zack won it in 2018,
and no one kind of expected that.
Yeah, he's only the second guy to win it as well.
Yeah, so like it's tough. I know your pick, and I probably would agree with it. So I'm not going to say it because I'll let you have your moment. So. Yeah, just
do my pick.
Go on.
I thought you'd never answer. So yeah, my pick to win the whole thing is Sanada. I think Sanada's taking the New Japan Cup this year.
Yeah.
For the simple reason that if you go back, Sanada made his debut in the tournament in 2017, I think, and he was knocked out in the opening round. Following year, 2018, he got to the quarterfinals. Following year, 2019, he got to the semifinals. Last year he got to the final, and a lot of people thought he might have won last year because him and Okada had like this mini feud where like he was like 7-0 in singles matches with Okada.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, and I think he beat him at one point leading up to it, so everyone was like, maybe no. So I think this year it just makes sense for him to get to the final and win. Plus he's the only member of LIJ without a title now. They all have titles. You have Naito's the IWGP Heavyweight and IC champion. Takahashi is the Junior Heavyweight champion. Shingo is the Openweight champion. And then Shingo, Bushi, and Evil are the 6-man champs.
Yeah.
So I think it only makes sense I think it makes sense if you have Sanada come in and be like, I'm the only one without a belt. Just like, and him and Naito always have great chemistry as well together because they're really good friends in real life, and Naito almost acted like a father figure like he kind of brought Sanada into New Japan.
Yeah.
And I think Sanada takes it. I don't think he'll win it. I don't think he'll win against Naito because I think he might be out of the company. I think this might be his last hurrah.
Yeah, you were saying that. Like, is there speculation? What's his contract?
There was rumors early on, just after Wrestle Kingdom, that he was on his way out. But obviously that didn't happen. But apparently, when Triple H talks about New Japan stars that he would like to sign, he talked about Kushida, who he obviously signed, and he talked about Sanada, and I only found out recently he's engaged to Io Shirai, who is the current NXT Women's Champion, who I presume lives in Orlando. I would imagine.
She would have. Well, she does obviously now.
She would have to, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So I would imagine if they're engaged to be married, it would just make one of them would move. One of them would move somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling, just a gut feeling that Sanada might be the next kind of, cameo in the crowd guy for New Japan or for NXT.
Maybe.
But
we're talking a while away from the cameos in the crowd.
Oh
though.
Jesus, yeah. I reckon if they do sign him, it'll probably be like towards the end of the year, maybe.
What age is he?
Sonata.
Yeah. Is he young?
He's not old. He's not very old. He's like maybe 31.
Yeah.
I think he's the same age as Okada. Wait no, Sonata, 32.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's young. That's young, like, you know. But what I think might happen, this is just looking at the brackets. I think the final of the New Japan Cup might be Hiromu Takahashi versus Sanada. I think Hiromu might actually do it. Because it'll be interesting, won't it? Because, think about it. He was originally meant to face Naito at the anniversary show.
Yeah.
Because the whole gimmick behind the anniversary show is the main event is the heavyweight champion versus the junior heavyweight champion. And you have this clash of the weight classes. And obviously, Naito's champion, Hiromu's the other champion, and they're both LIJ stablemates and great friends, and it would have been this whole, like, you know, funny thing. But I'd imagine that match would have been match of the year contender. And we never got that match. And it'll be interesting now to see how Hiromu, because I think he's definitely beating Hanma. If he loses against Hanma, I don't know what's happening there, because Hanma can barely walk. If he beats Hanma, he's facing either Toru Yano or Jado.
Yeah.
I think he'll be facing Yano, and that would be a hilarious match. That would be one of the best comedy matches ever, I say. Because Hiromu is hilarious as well. Then if he wins that, he's facing either Makabe, Tsuji, Ishii, or Desperado. And do you not want to see Tomohiro Ishii versus Hiromu Takahashi?
Yeah.
And then if he wins that, he's facing either Okada, Gedo, Nagata, Suzuki, Umura, Kanemaru, or Kid or Ishimori, and you'd have to imagine to be Okada there. Maybe Suzuki, but other than that, it would probably be Okada. And Takahashi going over Okada,
that'd be huge.
That would be huge for him, and it would be a way to establish the juniors as well, like, you know. And you don't have to have him like beat him with have him roll him up or something, you know, just catch him. And I remember I was listening to an interview, not an interview, kind of like a podcast that the Bullet Club at the time did. It was Kenny, Cody, the Bucks, Hangman, and Adam Cole, I think, did a whole thing. And obviously Kenny first made his name as a junior and joined Bullet Club as a junior and worked his way up to be a heavyweight. And obviously saw huge success, one of the kind of bigger success stories from a guy jumping from one weight class to another. And one of the questions, it was like a live stream and people could ask questions, obviously. And someone asked him, Kenny, if you had to pick a junior to jump up to heavyweights now, like, who would you pick and who do you think would have the most success? And he named Hiromu. He said, I think Hiromu could be a heavyweight champion one day. Like,
yeah.
So I think it would just be the first kind of tease of big things for Hiromu in the future, because he's another guy. I think he's only like 30 or 31. So he's gonna, like, I can imagine him being New Japan for the next 10, 15 years, definitely. Yeah. So I think I keep him in the junior division now because they need it, because they're after losing a few guys. But like, keep him in the junior division, build a new junior division around him, and then eventually, when you have enough guys there, you know, move him up to heavyweight and have him be the guy. Like, I don't know, I think Takahashi just has that special charisma about him that just you can't teach. And he just has that thing that, like, you want to watch him, kind of like Naito. He's not like Naito in that sense. But I think he'll get to the final. I don't think he'll win, because I don't think they'll have a junior guy win it yet. Maybe someday, but not this time. And I think Sonata will win it. That's my pick.
Yeah, no, it is interesting, and like the whole Naito Sonata story going into Dominion would be interesting.
That's the thing. Like, it's just such a ready-made story. Like,
yeah, it'll be interesting how Dominion shapes up, because, you know, obviously, as you said, you're missing a lot of Gaijins. You're missing your Jay White's
gone, yeah.
Your Will Ospreay's,
El Fantasma.
Yeah, you're missing a lot there. So it'll be interesting. I have no doubt they'll do it, but it'll be interesting to see what type of card.
Moxley can't be there.
Yeah,
he's US champion.
Is he still US champion?
Yeah,
is he?
Because I was actually thinking about this now. Because I was like, it's going to be hard now, because he'll presumably have to drop the AEW title before he drops that.
Yeah,
and I think, like, obviously Wrestle Dynasty, which was going to be their big pay-per-view in Madison Square Garden in August, like, I'd imagine he would have been on that show, presumably, because it was going to be in New York. Like, you know, it wouldn't have been.
Who, Moxley?
Moxley,
No,
yeah.
he's not allowed.
Isn't he?
No, no AEW talent is allowed wrestling the US outside of AEW on
Oh,
TV.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was the deal. That's what
okay.
Tony Khan said. Like that, none of his talent will be appearing on that show or any US show that the New Japan tried to do.
Fair enough. Never mind then. Because I was going to say...
He would have dropped the US title before that show,
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Because I was like... Because Moxley...
I forgot he's still the US champion.
Yeah, still US champion. Because he just when he won it, or at the New Beginning in Osaka or whatever, one of his last appearances in New Japan before all this happened, they were setting up a feud between him and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah.
And it looked like Zack was going to be the guy to take the title off him. Maybe he probably still is. I would imagine he is. Because Zack...
But like then the whole remember they took the title off him because of the typhoon and all that.
But see, that's the thing. Like they'll take the title off you if you physically can't make a defense. So okay.
But
so if you don't defend your title for 6 months,
yeah,
you're stripped.
And how many months are away are we?
He has till he won it on January 4th, so he has he passed it yet? No,
he has 1 more month.
He is till July 4th.
Yeah.
So July 4th is his deadline. But Naito himself said, because Naito's deadline is the 9th of August, I think he said. Because he defended it in February. So he said, my deadline's the 9th of August.
Well, he's going to defend it at the Minion anyway.
So no, he's fine, yeah. But he was saying that, like, for the likes of Moxley, he goes, I couldn't see them stripping him of the title under these circumstances.
Yeah. Could he defend it on AEW TV? I know AAA, like he.
Yeah,
can
they'd have to agree to it.
Yeah,
I don't see why not.
But could they strike a deal that way?
I couldn't see it hurting New Japan. Like
if they brought in a
Japanese guy,
a Japanese guy, or like had
or
an outside
Archer or something, like
Yeah, something like that.
Or even Kenny.
Yeah,
something like that. Someone who has like affiliations with the company.
Yeah,
like you have Kenny and Cody are both former US champions in New Japan as well.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Like he has till July 4th. As far I don't think he defended it between Wrestle Kingdom or after Wrestle Kingdom. I don't think he defended it.
No, he
or did he? Yeah, he did. He defended it against Suzuki.
When?
February 9th. So he has till August 9th as well.
Okay. That gives him a bit more time.
Yeah, so. He has till August 9th because remember he had the match with Suzuki.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did too. So he has till August 9th. Will we see it? I don't know. We probably will. Wait and see, I suppose. It's another 2 months. Yeah. So who knows what the world will look like in 2 months' time.
So yeah, that's pretty much the New Japan Cup, so is it?
Yeah.
Lead up to it.
We'll talk more about it as it kind of progresses and whatever, but and we'll predict Dominion. Like I don't know if they're going to announce the rest of the card, but they're like we won't know the main event till the day before.
Yeah.
So we'll try and set a date for that for July 12th. And try and predict that day, or July 11th, or whatever the final New Japan Cup is.
Yeah. So, we'll probably move on.
We'll move on
to Backlash.
To the reason we're all here. So yeah,
the pinnacle of wrestling.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, it could be. Who knows how will shake out? But this Sunday we have Backlash. That'll be his next pay-per-view. Now. We had WrestleMania, which has the gimmick of being WrestleMania. It's the biggest show of the year. We had Money in the Bank, which is, again, a gimmick pay-per-view. It's all based around, the Money in the Bank ladder match. And in this year's case, climbing the corporate ladder, as they put it, and having a big match inside Titan Towers. This time, it's Backlash. And I remember I actually asked you this question because I remember they announced the next pay-per-view was Backlash, and I literally said to you, I goes what is going to be the gimmick?
What a gimmick it is! The
greatest wrestling match ever is taking place at this pay-per-view, presumably headlining. We'll get onto it in more detail in a minute, but yes, you heard me right. The greatest wrestling match. Think of every wrestling match that's ever transpired. I'm talking Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker WrestleMania 25, CM Punk and John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011.
That's not one of. They've listed a couple of them, but they didn't list that.
Wasn't that not there? No.
No,
it was.
They couldn't. They don't have CM Punk's
likeness.
Don't
they? Oh, I thought. Never mind.
They can't sell merch from CM Punk.
Oh, fair enough.
They couldn't give him royalties.
Never mind.
I don't think Savage Steamboat was presented as well.
I thought it was. I thought I saw these.
There's Cactus Jack Triple H. That's one of them.
I saw Edge, or not Edge, sorry, Brock and Eddie Guerrero from No Way Out 2004, which is a weird opinion, to be honest. I mean, it's a good match, but like...
It's a great moment.
Yeah,
but,
it's a moment more than a match. There was Austin Rock from WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
Hogan
Brett
and
and Shawn.
Brett and Shawn's Iron Man was there.
And not Shawn and Razor.
That wasn't there.
And not Brett and Austin.
Brett and Austin might have been there.
It's not there at all, because I remember specifically going, why did they put Brett and Shawn there, not Brett and Austin, and not Shawn and...
Owens and Zayn from Battleground 2015 is there.
Is it?
Yeah, and Cole and Gargano from Takeover 25 is there.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, they're both actually good points, though, because to be fair, Zayn and Owens at Battleground is one of the kind of forgotten ones of their feud. It's actually a really good match. It's probably the match of the year that year. Especially on the main roster, anyway. But
the Revival DIY should be there. I know they can't.
There was no tag match. What?
How dare I?
Your phone's on the floor. But bite your tongue, sir. Anyway, we'll get on to that anyway in a bit. Jeez, tag match, he says.
In fairness, the best match of the last 12 months was a tag match.
I know, Jack. Jeez.
That's not WWE.
That didn't exist. Anyways, we'll get on to the pay-per-view. We'll break it down match by match.
Does any, can I just put it? Does any match other than the main event actually matter? Like, does anyone care?
I genuinely don't care about
like,
it. Maybe the WWE title match. Maybe the WWE title match. That could be good, but the rest of the card is... I'm sorry, spoiler alert if I sound disinterested, but this is a disinteresting card.
Actually, before we start this is just something that randomly popped up into my mind because I was thinking of how did they actually put some of these matches together. But did you hear this story? Took a bug.
Yeah, that was crazy. We're watching Predation here.
Yeah,
it's like National Geographic here.
We're still recording it in my backyard, but there was a bird came down and there was a bug on a plant and he just took the bug and ran.
Right there in front of me. Anyways,
like Dr. Doolittle.
A glimpse into my future.
What was I talking? Oh, did you hear the story that JR told on his podcast recently about WrestleMania 17?
No.
He said like WrestleMania 17 was the first year that they had like a full writing staff put together WrestleMania rather than like, you know, the old stories of like Vince, Pat Patterson around Vince's pool putting the card together. So he said that the writing team were like tasked 2 months before the Rumble to put together the card for WrestleMania and present it, and they put it together all, presented it to Vince. Vince loved it, and Vince then was to present it to the higher ups, like, you know, JR and all these people. No, not the investors, like his right hand men, like, saying like this is going to be the WrestleMania card. And he said he was sitting in a room.
It's like a weird order of things.
Yeah, but he said they pitched it to Vince, and I think it was 15 writers pitched the card to Vince, and Vince loved it, and he went into the rest of them. And he pitched it. And he was like, "This is going to be our WrestleMania." And he was like, "There's going to be no changes to this card. This is it." And he said they were all looking at each other, and he was like, "What the hell's wrong?" And he's like, "Vince, they're missing something." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "There's no Undertaker or Triple H on this card." And he was like, "Find it." And he just put Undertaker versus Triple H on the board down at the end. So that's how the match was made.
It was a good match too.
but there was no feud really.
Yeah, it was one of those kind of random ones.
He just like, find it.
God damn it.
But like they were like, that's when they lost all faith in the writers. They were like, there was 15 of them and no one said
the Undertaker.
Yeah, they forgot
at WrestleMania. Like, I know at that point it wasn't a thing really, but still, he was one of the and Triple H, who was like genuinely 2 of the biggest guys in the company.
Yeah, like just
like you had Rock and Austin, and then you can argue one of the 2 of them as the third guy. Anyways, we'll get on to, you know, what's probably going to be the greatest pay-per-view of all time.
Yeah, I had to start by a story from the previous
greatest pay-per-view of all time.
But this pay-per-view is going to success it.
Obviously. Anyways, first match of the card. Well, so far there's 7 matches in this. We obviously have SmackDown tonight, but I can't really see anything being added from SmackDown.
Yeah, there'll be a few pre-show matches.
I reckon I'm surprised we haven't heard of Street Profits versus Viking Raiders in some form of match.
They're kind of friends now.
Yeah, it's weird, but like it's strange that they've still never had a match for the tag titles.
Yeah.
And it's weird that Rollins hasn't gotten a match with Black or like a 6-man, like with
Or Ray.
unless they're just building for Extreme. Like I know Extreme Rules is after this, or maybe they're trying to get it to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, first match of the night is the WWE United States Championship match. It is the United States champion Apollo Crews defending his title against the man he took it from, Andrade. Andrade won a triple threat match on Raw against Angel Garza and Kevin Owens to get here, which I found kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Because you had two other guys who would have been... Angel Garza would have been perfect, like...
Yeah. But I think there's a story here, so I'm going Apollo Crews, and I think it's that Garza costs Andrade, because Andrade pinned Garza, so it only makes sense.
I was gonna say you should like have Garza. If they had done
again,
Garza,
this is all Raw, and now with the changes, we don't know. We could genuinely have a few Poochie died on his way back to his home planet. We might never see Angel Garza again. like that could be it. Like,
Angel Garza.
Yeah.
Ooh. But no, I agree with you. I think Apollo's winning this because I think Apollo is going to go on a bit of a run with the belt and like try and make it somewhat. I don't know. Try and redeem it somehow.
Yeah.
Because the US title's been absolutely done to death for the last few years. Since Cena had it, it hasn't been properly used. And like, God, Andrade could have done it, but they had him lose like every week to the WWE champion.
Yeah.
And never had him defend it properly. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Cruz is winning. And I think we're going to see something like that, like Garza costs him. Maybe Zelina unintentionally costs him.
Or maybe Garza costs him by accident and then it leads. I think the SummerSlam match is going to be Andrade Garza.
Yeah, which would be a great match too.
So I think that's the way we're going. But that was the way we're going.
Garza should be the face in that one.
Vince could come in with his fucking
Who the hell are you?
shredder and just take the card off.
Who are you? You're not Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I was just about to say. But, actually, the Revival told a story that they had a meeting with Vince, like in the middle of their run. And he sat down and he was like, "You guys, you're just like Arn and Tully," and they left being like, "Oh, he compared us to Arn and Tully, like that's great." And the Met Triple H told him, and he's like, "You know, he meant that as an insult, right?" He's like,
"They're WCW guys."
He was like, you know, he what he meant was you're all wrestling, no character.
Yeah,
and he was like. They were like, "Oh,
he was exactly what we were going for."
That'll tell you what Vince's fucking philosophy is. Yeah. You're just like Arn and Tully.
Yeah.
You're like the greatest tag team of all time.
Oh my god, you're really good workers.
Or he told another story that he was down at the Performance Center, but he was on the main roster. One of them, I think it was Dax, was down at the Performance Center one day, and they had like a tag team class, like. A class just for tag teams, and Ricky Martin was their head trainer. But like they were all like warming up when Ricky Martin, or he walked in and they were all warming up, or they were all like sitting around chatting to each other, and Ricky Martin was sitting there on his own like this. And he went over and he was like, he introduced himself to Ricky Martin. He was like, have any of the guys came over and asked you any questions or anything? And he was like, no, I'm just sitting here by myself. And he went straight into Matt Bloom and he was like, you have a tag team class and you have the greatest tag team wrestler, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers out there, and no one's asking him questions. And they got all the tag teams into a circle. And it's like, hands up if you know who this man is. And there was like 3 hands went up out of like 60 people. We're like, are you guys not watching wrestling? Like, this is what you're dealing with in the Performance Center.
Yeah, to be fair, like when you look at like the newest crop of like Performance Center recruits, you'll have like 1 or 2 like standout indie guys, and then you'll have like a bunch of like basketball players and like gymnasts.
But like his thing was then he just couldn't understand. He understands that not all people grew up as wrestling fans and now are now wrestlers, but like surely if you're training and learning tag team wrestling, then you should know who Ricky Martin is in the Rock and Roll Express.
You see, actually, the Shatter Machine is not called the Shatter Machine anymore.
What is? I thought it was.
No, it's not that anymore because they used it on Dynamite 2 days ago, and they called it something else.
But they have the rights to the Shatter Machine.
I thought they did, but I think they got. I think they recontested it. I don't know.
Did you see Billy Gunn couldn't use Billy Gunn on
Yeah,
TV?
he's Billy now.
So
That could be me.
so,
Why not
but
call
he
him
can't.
something else?
He owns the rights to Billy Gunn for
But
merchandising, but can't use it on
as
TV.
character, yeah. Is Austin Gunn though, or is he Austin?
I think he's Austin Gunn, so I
Yeah.
think it was like Cody. I think he can be Billy and Austin Gunn,
Yeah.
like Cody and Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah.
But
I think it's called, I can't remember the name of it. I heard it today. It's the something express is the Shatter Machine. Is it like the Headache Express or something like that, or the jaw shattering, jaw breaking express or something like that? Something like express is in there somewhere, which is a nod and a wink. Anyway, moving on back to Backlash. This was so interesting. This card is
like we're just procrastinating. We're talking.
Next up is a triple threat tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We have the champions, Bayley and Sasha Banks, defending their titles against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, the former champions, and the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Jack, who'd you have here?
God, if I had a three-way coin, I'd flip it. The Iconics.
I think it'll be the Iconics.
They're pushing them.
I can't see Bayley and Sasha carrying it for that.
But then again, it's Bayley. They could do anything. They're liable to do anything with them.
With Bayley and Sasha, genuinely. They really they're it's really like whipping a dead horse with this feud. Like they just don't know what to do. And like, do you see it's announced on NXT this week? It's going to be the winners of this match versus Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Knox for the titles.
Is it? Right.
Yeah. There's there's that match, and Imperium are defending the tag titles against Breezango on NXT. So 2 title matches announced for NXT this week.
Maybe it is Bayley and Sasha to get star power on NXT.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I would imagine they'd consider Bayley and Sasha more star power than the Iconics.
No, I would.
Then again, it's Vince. Vince is saying, "Look at them.
They're gorgeous. They're Australian. Get out, mate."
I love Vince's Australian accent.
Let's put out of that shrimp on the barbie. I'm going to go the Iconics just because they should have won the titles by now. Plus, they were in this feud and they got somehow
shafted.
Yeah,
and then shoehorned back.
They were like the 4th team. They became like like they were the team, and then they became like the 4th in line for the titles. So I'm going the Iconics. I don't want Bayley and Sasha to have the titles for that long. I really understand why.
Especially when Bayley's champion.
Yeah. Oh, see what they're calling her?
What?
Bayley Dole Straps. Because she's Hispanic. But so moving on from that, the next match we have is a match that has been, it kind of had no build, and then it got a bit of build, but that build
got too much build.
It got too much build. And it's Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. If you don't know what the story is, like Sheamus came back from injury, and his whole gimmick was, I'm a big Irish guy.
That's been his gimmick his whole career.
And I'm sick of all these little guys running around SmackDown, like Chad Gable, and who was the other guy? Was there another guy? Oh, Apollo Crews is the other guy for some reason, who's not even that small. Is he even small? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I know he's transitioned to a feud with Jeff Hardy, even though Jeff's not small either. Jeff's taller than the two of them. But it's transitioned from a height and size thing to
wrestling style.
Yeah, Jeff's past and Jeff's inner demons, and obviously Jeff's had some issues in the past with alcohol and drugs. And
can I just say, right?
Yeah.
Has this ever worked? This storyline, because they've done it a couple of times.
I think it worked with Jericho and Punk because Punk,
but it wasn't
was
Punk's
straight
past.
edge. Yeah, and I know Punk brought it up with Hardy in their feud in 2009.
I think that was okay.
That was okay. I think that worked.
But it worked.
But I think it worked in the sense that Punk was straight edge.
Yeah.
It's like it looks like Sheamus just calling it. Like Sheamus likes a point. We all know that. And like I think like at least Punk had the excuse of like, I'm better than you. Like he was the heel.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm better than you because I don't do what you do.
Yeah.
Rather than you're a terrible person because of all the shit you've done, kind of thing. Like Sheamus is meant to be the heel here.
Stop getting arrested.
I know. Stop driving drunk and stop taking it's like an intervention. It's
yeah. It's it's very strange. But like speaking, like we were talking earlier about stuff that they overdo. This storyline, we just named three variations of that storyline that they've
It's
done
not
the
even the
last 10
storyline,
years.
it's the apparent segment planned for tonight. So
Yeah.
SmackDown is happening tonight. Apparently, we have it's meant to be Jeff Hardy and Sheamus' contract signing. And Sheamus has a clause in the contract that Jeff has to submit a drug test. And apparently, we're going to see that take place on SmackDown, where Jeff will piss in a cup
Yeah.
and throw it at Sheamus.
Wrestling.
Oh! That's been done to death. That is a segment that shouldn't happen more than once. If it has to happen
What was the first one? Was it Sean?
It might have happened one time in the Attitude Era as well, but I know Sean and Vince was like one of the first ones.
That was good, but like
Because it was the first time.
Yeah.
If they'd left it with that, but like that was the time in wrestling where, you know, it was a lot of gross out value, like, you know, like a lot of gross shit happened.
Yeah.
But like I think, was it Jericho and Punk did it as well, or was it Punk and Hardy, or did they both do it?
Punk and Jericho.
Punk and Jericho.
Punk and Hardy might have done it as well.
So I remember watching the Raw where Punk had to like walk the line, and say the alphabet backwards.
That was a good segment as well. But
yeah, wrestling, eh? Anyway, Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Jack, who do you have?
I have Sheamus because I imagine that the hacker was the guy behind Hardy's
crash.
Crash.
Well, like he'll reveal.
Yeah, and I think he'll reveal himself here.
Well, see, it's interesting because
which would be funny if it's CM Punk.
Imagine it. Well, see, it'd be interesting because Hardy gave his like account of what happened last week, and he said like, I was going to my car, and next thing I got all groggy and and everything blacked out and I couldn't remember anything. And then I woke.
Feeling Jeff Hardy's used to.
And then I woke up behind the wheel of the car. And
this sounds all too familiar.
This is really like close to the bone here.
Was he just reading out the statement he gave to the police 6 months ago?
And he said, I got out of the car, and you know Elias was on the ground or whatever. And he said, like, I remember seeing someone with orange hair. He said, like, that's the thing. He said, I saw a guy with red hair. How many people actually work for WWE with red hair?
It was Becky Lynch.
It was Becky or Sheamus, and I promise you it wasn't Becky. And like,
I can't drink alcohol now, so you have to have all mine.
See, like, it felt like the hacker was going to come in at some point and show Sheamus attacking Jeff, but he never did. So unless they
just forgotten about this hacker.
I genuinely think they have. So unless they do it at Backlash and just for confirmation, even though we don't need any confirmation, like, because like there's no one else it could be. At least with the Otis and Mandy storyline, there was a few options. Like it might have been Tucker, it might have been Mandy, it might have been Sonya.
Unless like Jeff has different colors in his hair, he just saw his own.
Him in the rear view. But anyway, should we make fun? I don't know. Don't we think it's okay? So,
sure.
Anyways, I'm going Jeff Hardy. I'm going opposite to you. I think Jeff Hardy gets the win here, just because.
Do you really think now it's WWE like to give the
babyface the win? No, I think the hacker might interfere during the match and flash up Sheamus losing or Sheamus attacking him, and Sheamus would be like, "What?"
And then you've Sheamus in the first hacker.
And then Sheamus tries to find out who the hacker is, kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be that way too.
That's the way I thought about it anyway. I feel like the hacker is getting involved in some way. Right. So that's that match. Next up, oh my god, Jack. Of all the matches on this card, this is the one I don't want to watch the most. It's the Raw Women's Championship match between the Raw Women's Champion Asuka defending her title against Nia Jax. Have at it. Who's winning this one?
Well, Asuka, I feel.
Yeah. But why is she winning it? Because we all know the answer to this question.
Because Nia Jax can't wrestle.
No, that's the wrong answer, Jack.
It's because she's wrestling Charlotte Flair.
It's because Charlotte's taking it off her the next night.
Yeah. Has Asuka ever beaten Charlotte Flair in singles competition?
No, that's the basis of this feud, that she's never beaten.
Which
would mean that Asuka should win this, presumably, but she's not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be shocked if this match is about to take place and out saunters Charlotte and it's like, I am inserting
Like
myself.
WrestleMania 9.
Yeah, I am inserting myself into this match.
No, they'll do it that they'll do it that Asuka beats Nia and then Charlotte comes out and it's like
Pins her.
Charlotte comes out and is like, oh, I can have a title match anytime I want.
Yeah, I am the queen.
Papa Vince will give it to me.
Big Daddy Vince. But yeah, Asuka's winning this because if Nia Jax wins this, then all hope is lost. I saw she released a statement today actually about like the criticisms.
Oh,
she
shut
received.
up. Cry me a fucking river.
I know, Nia. I know, but like, come on, you've hurt a lot of people. Your feelings might be hurt, but you've nearly killed a lot of people. Like, come on. Like, there's criticism and there's deserved criticism.
Yeah.
And there's,
if it was just her wrestling ability that they're criticizing, then, fair enough. But it's not her wrestling ability. It's the fact that she is unsafe.
Like, and I understand, like, I don't, like, people who, like, attack her online for, like, her size or her weight or anything, like, okay, fair enough, that's that's unnecessary because that has nothing to do with the fact. But, like, she is a bad wrestler. She cannot wrestle.
Yeah.
She cannot wrestle safely. She has a list as long as my arm of women she's hurt. Charlotte herself will not work with her, apparently. Like...
That's because, did you ever see the...
I saw it, she, like, drops her on her head or something.
Yeah, and then changes direction as to where she's doing, like, the shoulder breaker. And just does it on the wrong shoulder. Just fucks Charlotte's shoulder up.
Like, I'm sorry, Nia, if you're listening, but you're a bad wrestler. And you're just not safe.
You wouldn't have a job if you weren't The Rock's cousin.
If you even are The Rock's cousin, I'm still not 100% sure about that.
I'm sure The Rock doesn't know. He just sees this new Samoan and WWE saying it's his cousin. He's like,
alright.
Yeah.
They all gotta come from somewhere, I guess. Yeah.
He definitely thinks Samoa Joe's his cousin as well.
Might as well be. Like I think like she's wrestled Kairi Sane 3 times in the last
Hurt her 3
month
times.
and hurt her 3 times.
And
why does Kairi Sane keep agreeing to wrestle her?
But like, why do they keep putting her in? Like, why? It's surely unsafe for. Like, it's surely some like violation of safety for WWE that she keeps hurting this one poor talent and they keep putting them in the ring, being like, oh, this time she won't hurt her.
She's tiny. Kairi's tiny. She's like a teenage girl.
Oh yeah, I saw the Nia Jax excusers being like, oh, Kairi was sandbagging her. My bollocks. Like,
Kairi's one of the best wrestlers in
she can't sandbag her.
Yeah, she weighed nothing.
She weighed nothing compared to Nia. Nia could easily hoist her up.
You would think anyway. You would imagine. You would hope so.
Yeah.
Like, Kairi is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. I stand by that statement.
But it just goes to show there is something wrong when you're... I think I know of the top 2, your top 2 women's talent, and there's definitely more won't work with her. Becky or Charlotte.
Will Becky not work with her?
Apparently so. After Nia
the list is getting...
her.
Maybe that's why she keeps wrestling Kairi. She's one of the few people who hasn't...
Kairi's just happy to be there.
Yeah, Kairi, she doesn't speak enough English to convey that she doesn't want to wrestle her.
Okay, but like, look back to Survivor Series 20 last year. No, sorry, 20, the year before. Now, how many times? Like, think about how many times she's injured people up until then.
How many times since?
And how many times since?
Well,
right?
we were lucky that she was injured for a
That's
year.
what I'm saying, right? She's injured, like, at least 6 people since. But she was missing a year of that. So you're talking about, like...
Well, 6 incidents.
But you're talking about, like, maybe a 3-month active gap where she's actually hurt.
Yeah.
Or had 6 injuries.
Yeah, no, she's not good. And yeah, I really hope she doesn't hurt Asuka here.
But why does she keep getting chances and shots? And what has been seen?
She's Samoan.
She's not a good promo. She's not a good wrestler.
Yeah, I'd cut her loose. Yeah. Let her go be The Rock's cousin in Hollywood. I don't care.
Like, oh god.
Who is this? So anyway, moving on. You're going to Asuka, didn't you say? Yeah, we're all going to Asuka. We're all praying. Anyway, moving on to another match that is just
Sorry to even go back. Right, I just thought of one more thing about Nia. She managed to botch a move in a pre-taped cinematic match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
They couldn't even cut around it. It was so bad.
Which makes you think, like,
I'm
how
sure-
many times did they do that?
Was it on Asuka? I think it might have been.
Which one was it? What one
It was like a power bomb right before they finished.
Yeah, it was either Asuka or Lacey Evans.
I think it might have been Lacey Evans, so.
Because they were the only three women at the end.
Well, it was a botch anyway. Just like
where's Shayna Baszler gone? She's been Snoopied. Or what was his name? Poochied. Not Snoopied.
Snoopy is an actual character.
Poochie, sorry. Poochie. Anyway, moving on to another match that is just I'm just not excited for at all. It's a 2-on-1 handicap match for the WWE Universal Championship. It's Universal Champion Braun Strowman defending his title.
As if we didn't have any singles talent at all.
He's defending his title against The Miz and John
the
Morrison.
Laziest booking.
What's even the basis of this feud? How did this? I genuinely can't tell you how this started.
I hate this. They did it once and it was okay with AJ and Owens Zayn.
Yeah.
But now they keep doing it and it's shite. Because you just know the duo aren't going to win.
Yeah, because they're not going to do the co-champion thing. Or, like, how does he... I don't think they've explained how it works.
I'm not even going to dignify... I'm not even going to dignify predicting this match.
Braun is obviously winning this one. Braun's... Well, I was going to say, where's Bray gone? But he just had a baby, so...
But I think he will turn up here.
Think so?
Yeah.
Maybe a little flash on the screen or something. I don't know. Braun's winning anyway, and it'll probably be 5 minutes long. 5 minutes long, and squash of two guys who shouldn't be squashed, really. Like, yeah. John Morrison really shouldn't be regretting coming back. Like, next up, a match that actually could be intriguing because we've seen it before in other companies that's really good, but that doesn't always translate to WWE. It is the WWE Championship match between WWE Champion Drew McIntyre defending his title against Bobby Lashley. Lashley's first singles WWE title match in 13 years. So the MVP effect, I guess. Who do you have in mind, Jack?
Bobby Lashley.
Do you actually? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, what? No. Don't say that. That's the wrong answer.
Okay. Out of the two men, who's Vince's guy? And who was Paul Heyman's guy?
That is true, but Drew was Vince's guy as well. At one point, but not the same Drew. It's not the same guy.
And apparently, this is going to be a long-term feud. So,
oh, really?
It's going to SummerSlam, apparently. So you've 3 pay-per-views.
Maybe a screwy finish.
Or else you...
With, like, Lana and MVP.
Yeah.
Causing a distraction. Yeah. And then... No, I mean, like...
Just give me something.
The way I see it playing out, because I don't want Lashley as champion, is... MVP would presumably be in Lashley's corner. I can see Lana sauntering down and being like getting into an argument with MVP, and Lashley being like, "What the hell?" and then turning around into a Claymore. And then at Extreme Rules, he's like, "I want a cage match or something." So there's no distractions. It's just the two of us in a cage, and I don't know where you go from there. Maybe like
it's kind of wishful thinking me picking Lashley because this is apparently the SummerSlam match. Yeah,
weird.
And it's just typical WWE
to not know where they're going.
No, it's just typical WWE to have Drew beat him 3 times in a row. Rather, just give me something. Give me something to get excited.
We saw it with AJ in his title feud. Like he beat Nakamura like 4 times, and he beat Joe 3 times as well. So, and like at least with the Joe one, there was like there was one where Joe like AJ tapped, but like you didn't see it, and that made sense. But like the Nakamura one was all just ball shots. I don't know. I'll wait and see. I'm actually looking forward to this match because these two do actually have really good matches with each other, as proven by Impact Wrestling. Just see, actually, they put up.
Yeah, I saw it, Jeff.
Like that. We didn't mean to post this video so many times. We didn't realize how much backlash it would get.
Yeah.
And so these two have wrestled for the Impact World Championship, and it's been good. So maybe we'll see. I don't know. Please don't let Drew lose here. If Drew loses here, I can't.
Well, if he loses and gets back.
No, like, just have him have a strong title reign. I want him to have the title. Like, we don't see this enough. Like every title feud is like 3 matches long, where it's like 3 pay-per-views long. Like you said now, you said that this match is presumably Backlash, Extreme Rules, SummerSlam, which no, like, because why not have it like so far Drew's been fine because he had the match with Rollins and Money in the Bank, had the match with Lashley here. Extreme Rules have a match with someone else, and then build to like a big challenger then for SummerSlam.
Yeah,
maybe Brock.
Apparently, this is a SummerSlam match.
Don't like that.
Yeah.
Don't like that at all. Ugh. No thanks.
Like, I do think that they were going with Jinder, but now Jinder had to get more knee surgery. So
apparently it was meant to be a minor enough surgery, but it turned into a major one.
Yeah.
That it was like when they went in, it was like way more damage than they thought was there.
Yeah. So
which is sad.
Yeah. So and there's no one really else to challenge on Raw at the moment, is there? Bar if you go Rollins again.
Maybe Rollins again.
I think
Aleister Black is there if he wins the Rollins feud.
Yeah. Like, I think the match for SummerSlam is, like, it's going to be... I think it's going to be Rollins and his disciples against Mysterio and Dominic. I think that's the way it's going.
Maybe. Unless, I could totally see them doing Drew and Black, though, and billing it Claymore versus Black Mass.
Yeah. Which I wouldn't be opposed.
I'd be so up for that.
Yeah. But unless they move someone like an Adam Cole up, or someone that can challenge Dijakovic.
Dijakovic, maybe.
But again,
Andrade.
Yeah.
Andrade. Good. Owens is there.
Yeah.
He's babyface, but still.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But
trying to think of this is on Raw. Charlotte Flair. She wants to go for a men's title now, and that I would say that's more likely.
Yeah. What was that about? Was that on Raw?
No. She said it in like an interview with who was it? It wasn't Sportskeeda. It was it Sports Illustrated? I can't remember. It was some magazine anyway, and they asked her like, I don't know that they flat out asked her, "Do you want to go for a men's title?" She was like, she brought up Tessa Blanchard, and she said like her and Charlotte I think are really good friends in real life, and she said like, you know, like I'm really proud of what she's doing like what she's doing in her career, and like, you know, she's now a world champion and stuff, and like I wouldn't mind doing that myself, like, and stuff. She thinks
going to Impact.
Going to Impact, yeah, that's what she meant secretly. So who knows? Maybe Drew's next challenger will be Charlotte. No thanks.
Vince has his way. It will be.
It will be, yeah.
And she'll beat him too. He'll tap to the figure eight, yeah.
Anyways, no, I'm going Drew here. I can't see Lashley winning here. I want it to be like just Drew takes on all comers and just.
I hope that too.
Yeah.
I think I think they're going with the Lashley feud for SummerSlam, so I think
I can see him taking it to Extreme Rules maybe.
I hope that they give Lashley the title then.
No, see, I could totally see it going to Extreme Rules, saying like doing what I said there, having Lashley get distracted by Lan and MVP bickering, and then turns around into a Claymore 1, 2, 3, and then says, "I want a stipulation match at Extreme Rules." Like, probably a cage match. That's usually the one they go for when people are outside.
Yeah.
So maybe a cage match at Extreme Rules, and I would have Drew go over again. This time with zero distraction, so there's no doubt now that Drew beat him.
Yeah.
And then you can I would build Lashley versus MVP for SummerSlam or something, like, and have just like Lashley kill MVP or something, just to get a bit more shine back on Lashley, like, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I don't understand about this pay-per-view is you have a better match happening tonight on SmackDown than
AJ and Bryan.
Why isn't that on the card?
I have no idea, because the pay-per-view Sunday.
It doesn't make any sense.
Why aren't they waiting 2 days?
Like,
is it just to get views on SmackDown?
Maybe.
See, they leaked pictures of the title with both guys' nameplates on it.
What effort!
I think I saw, but I wasn't sure if it was true. That AJ's wife apparently put up the picture of the belt with his nameplates on it, and like there was another picture, but like I don't know, was that confirmed? Because I just saw the picture bouncing around with a load of Twitter accounts. So
yeah,
I don't know.
To see AJ said that he has no respect for CM Punk.
Yeah, I saw that. Why though?
Punk tweeted. Someone tweeted about AJ not being in support of the Black Lives Matter thing.
Yeah.
And Punk responded and was like, well, that's been apparent for the last decade, implying that
He's from Georgia.
that he's like a racist.
He's a redneck.
But he deleted the tweet.
Yeah.
And then they asked AJ about it. He was like, "Oh, why would I value the opinion of someone I don't respect anyway?"
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're on the topic of AJ. See, Randy Orton came out and said that he loves ribbing him over him thinking the Earth is flat.
Actually, going into this, like Orton's been doing a lot of media, and he's actually coming across really well.
Funny.
Oh, he's so funny. Oh, he's hilarious.
He's so funny.
But you know, Shaw or like Randy for me, it's almost like he's becoming Shawn Michaels in the sense, you know, he was an absolute terror when he was younger, but like he's grown up a lot, and like hearing him talk about like how he wants to help the younger generation come through and all that, like he actually comes across as if he can be first time ever in his career be a proper ambassador to the company rather than
wanking into his hands and shaking new guys' hands
rather than doing stuff like that.
But I saw like he just strikes me as a guy who's gotten to his career where he knows that WWE will probably WWE won't get rid of him because he's at a stage in his career where he's not retired, so he can still go somewhere and be valuable.
Yeah.
And it'd be different now if he was like Shawn Michaels now, where he was like at a stage where he wasn't working anymore or something. Like he could get fired then, but like he was like it strikes me that he's at a stage in his career where he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. So he's just going to say whatever he wants, and if WWE fire him, it's their loss. Like, cause he's still a valuable asset to the company.
Do you see? The Revival actually said like he is their mentor. Like, he's their.
Apparently, he really wanted them to be FTRKO.
But apparently he said like they said every day when they'd go to Raw, Randy would bring them to Vince and be like, "I want to work with these guys." And Vince would be like, "Well,
Aaron and Tully."
He said, "Sure." He's
Aaron and Ully.
They said that there was like all the top guys you can think of, like Roman, Orton, like everyone top guy in level in the company has gone to Vince at some stage and be like, "I want to work with these guys," and Vince just doesn't get it. He's like, "Oh, okay."
They're the best tag team in the world. I'm convinced that they are.
Yeah.
And like. Yeah, just I don't know.
Did you hear what they said about Cody?
No.
Where
I don't know.
They're really pissed off.
They're really pissed off.
Yeah,
pissed off with him or pissed him off.
They're really pissed off with him.
Why?
From like 2 years ago. I remember the interview when it first came out, but he said he was asked in an interview. He was asked by Sam Roberts. Who does he think? Because it was around the time where they were doing the FDR thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, does he really believe that the Young Bucks are better than the Revival and the best tag team in the world? And he was like, yes, because he was like, the Revival are in NXT and they go away and practice their matches in the Performance Center for 2 months on end before having them.
Yeah.
And they were like, Dax Harwood and all them were like, they wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
They wanted to kill him from that, and they still do. I don't know. They were on Cornette's podcast, so they were kind of working as well.
Yeah.
They were like, they were on.
They strike me as guys who are like Jericho, who like joke everything. You don't believe anything they say. Like.
Yeah, because they were like, they were there to Jim, and they were like, we're not under contract with AEW, so we can go into
handshake deal.
But he was like, we can go into business for ourselves against the Bucks. And it's like, and he was like, they've pissed us off. So, and then Jim was loving it. He was like,
Jim
please,
yes,
yeah,
finally. But I can't like. I saw that they said like it's not going to be a match. It's going to be us punching them in the face.
Yeah.
Which imagine if it happened would be hilarious. But like, it would
just beat them up.
It would. Joe would do.
It would JBL and the Blue Meanie.
It would really paint AEW in a stupid light because like they'd be like, this is going to be such a good match. But yeah, but like even Randy getting to his thing with Ciampa, like the leg slap.
Yeah.
Like Ciampa bit back and was like, my daughter's having trouble sleeping, so I've been showing her Randy Orton matches. It's stronger than NyQuil.
Yeah.
But like I could just hear Randy Orton laughing at the tweet, just winding him up like he's literally just taking the piss out of them, and they're all rising to the occasion.
He's actually like, this is like the most entertaining he's been.
Do you see what he said about the plane thing? See what he actually said?
Yeah, that the Undertaker
texted him being like, they're all playing checkers and you're playing chess. Baller Taker.
You see Randy just giggling at that.
Randy's brilliant. Randy, when he wants to be, is fantastic.
Yeah.
Speaking of Randy, I suppose we'll get on to it now. The main event, or what I assume to be the main event of the evening. The greatest wrestling match ever,
Did you see apparently where this all came from?
The greatest wrestling match ever? No.
It came from, apparently, it's a shot at Tony Khan because he promoted the Moxley and Hager thing as the greatest empty arena
the greatest
match ever.
indoor match ever. But they're all indoors, Tony.
But
yeah, the greatest wrestling match ever. Edge versus Randy Orton.
I have a plan.
Okay.
For where this match is going, right?
All right.
So they've released like a T-shirt line of the greatest matches ever. Yeah. So I think this match is going to be a snippet of all these matches in one match. There's going to be a thing from every match put into
just Randy Orton busted out a Panama Sunrise for fucking Adam Cole, like.
Yeah, like I think that would be the cool way to do it.
Well, it'd be cool if
a clip of every match put together.
Well, see, the thing is, it is cinematic, or at least it's being hinted at being cinematic, because this was the only match that was pre-taped.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see why it was pre-taped, because there has to be a reason.
Like what matches? Like, I'd love like for Eddie and Brock, they can just have Goldberg run in at one point.
Can you imagine?
And like, what other matches? Like Taker, Shawn, they could do like the backflip into the tombstone.
No, just dive. Yeah. And just like Edge just falls on his head. What were the matches on the card? Was Hogan Andre on it?
Cactus Jack and they should do the pedigree on the thumbtacks.
Yeah.
Or else do the remember the fucking.
That was a different match though, wasn't it?
No, the same one where he did the what's that called? Backdrop, and he landed on the crate and split his leg open.
Yeah. I thought you meant on the cell.
No, the backdrop, and he landed on like his calf, it punctured his calf.
Yeah. But anyway, getting to the greatest wrestling match ever, Jack. Keep that in mind. This is the greatest wrestling match you will ever see, ever. Who's winning it? Who's winning the greatest wrestling match ever? And ergo then is the greatest wrestler ever. By default.
Edge? I don't know. I haven't put that thought into it. I'm just thinking about what they're going to do.
I think Orton wins.
And we get a third one?
No, I think
the greatest sequel ever.
Two. I think...
Double!
The second greatest wrestling match ever. This is the greatest show.
Oh, if he comes out in the Hugh Jackman, like,
the garb.
PJ
They're
Barnum.
using the song. They're using the song, like, in the promos.
Yeah,
the video packages. It's the greatest show. I swear to God.
No, I didn't see.
I promise you, watch, like, the video packages leading
It's
up.
everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need.
No, watch, are you going to watch Backlash on Sunday?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Because you have to for this.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, watch it, and, like, I promise you there'll be video packages, and they'll use that song. But I think Orton wins. Okay, let me just try and put some sense to it.
I hope we get, like, the full, like, greatest showman now. Like we get, like,
fireworks
and tigers.
Hugh Jackman. But special guest announcer. This is the greatest show. I think Orton wins, and then that's a way for Edge to go away and come back as a heel, because then, because then Edge is like, because I want Edge as a heel.
Yeah, then we can end this madness.
I don't know. Edge could win this too. I mean, I don't know. I don't care. I just want to see what happens. That's the thing. I don't care. I genuinely don't care who wins. I just want to see what happens. Because this is coming from Alvarez now, so take it with a pinch of salt. Apparently, it's about 35 minutes of them actually trying to have the greatest match they can. which, you know, Randy Orton, back in his day, was a fantastic wrestler. One of the greatest athletes probably.
He still is.
Yeah, probably one of the greatest athletes to ever come through WWE. And Edge is one of the best minds for the business ever.
Edge is broken.
But Edge is nigh 50 years old, and after coming back from serious neck surgery, and Randy Orton is Randy Orton.
What if they just turn up and have the greatest wrestling match ever?
I hope it is. That it's just a battle
Like
for the ages.
Canadian destroyers.
I hope it's just like it just puts like any Okada Omega match to shame. Please.
What if they just copy the entire of Okada Omega?
Imagine. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm so intrigued by it, which is a good thing. Like WWE's marketing department deserve a serious raise.
Yeah, because there is one thing on every show where you have to tune in.
And like it's so simple. Just bill it as the greatest match ever. People will have to watch just to either see it fail or actually be surprised by how good it is.
I love the first promo of this lead up, and it was Charlie Caruso.
Yeah, this could be the greatest wrestling match ever.
And then the credit came up, and you're like, what?
They had that what?
That's the line that ended Raw. And you're like,
but yeah, when you think about it, this was Charlie's fault.
Yeah.
Like Charlie turned, like it's almost she went. Oh my god! Imagine it is the greatest wrestling match ever. Imagine we can't watch any more wrestling after this because it's just peaked.
7 stars.
It's peaked. Dave Meltzer actually dies from how good it is. He can't physically give it enough stars.
Shocking.
I had no idea. Anyway, that's Backlash. The greatest wrestling match ever is happening on Backlash. Backlash! A pay-per-view that nobody didn't even care to use last year. There was no Backlash last year. The last one was 2018.
Oh god.
Because I know these matches don't typically the big matches that go down in history happen at the big pay-per-views, and every so often one will sneak in there, like Eddie and Brock or something like that. Like will sneak in at a non-big pay-per-view. But this is Backlash in 2020 in the pandemic era with no crowd, and it's Edge and Randy Orton.
In fairness, Randy Orton holds to this day the greatest wrestling match of Backlash history anyway. Cactus Jack, I think.
That was really good to compare.
That or the triple threat that main event the same show.
Same carriage, yeah.
But yeah.
How old were Shawn and Taker when they had the WrestleMania 25 match?
Be about the same age as Edge and...
It's possible. It's possible. I've done the schematics. I've looked at the data. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. You have to watch it because a little part of you knows that it actually might be.
No, it won't.
No, not the greatest wrestling match ever. Because that's Edge went on record himself and said that's impossible. You can't actually have the greatest wrestling match ever because it's subjective. But
no, in Vince's mind, that's not subjective.
This is the greatest one ever. Number 1 ranked. No, it's though there's a tiny part of you that knows this could be actually a really good match.
I'm hoping we get a video package leading into this, WrestleMania caliber, where it just goes through all the greatest wrestling matches ever, and then
I had a theory, because when it was cinematic or when it was announced, it was pre-taped anyway, because we're not sure how cinematic this is going to be, if it is at all. I had it in my head that the reason this was pre-taped was because they were going to just have a match, right, and just edit the shit out of it, and just have it be like a fucking the Matrix or a Dragon Ball Z fight. They start firing fireballs at each other and going Super Saiyan and just dodging. They start firing guns at each other and there's dodging bullets. And they take out weapons and they're sword fight.
I love in the build up of this, Christian is the only man who's speaking sense. He's you cannot have the greatest wrestling match ever.
Edge. You broke your face 9 years ago. You actually broke yourself. Yeah.
Only in Vince's world could he 6 months ago tell a guy you'll never wrestle again, and now he's promoting that
the greatest wrestling match ever.
Oh, this will either be, like you said, it'll either be really, really good and live up to expectations, or it'll be like DX and Brothers of Destruction in Saudi Arabia.
It's a dumpster fire. And either way, you won't be able to not look at it. On that note, stay tuned for Backlash for the greatest wrestling match ever.
I'm just gonna end it on that.
See, AJ.